welcome to High Point Music's gear reviews. I'm Lewis, and today we're going to do things a little bit differently, and I'm going to show you 5 different fuzz pedals that are in my most favorite fuzz pedals of all time, so that when you're watching other videos at home, you can get a bit of an idea of some of the descriptions I use. So I thought if I show you some of these pedals and the different characteristics they have, it'll give you a better idea of things I might be talking about in other videos. So again, 5 great fuzz pedals. I've got the Fuzz, which you can check out the review video on our YouTube channel for. I've got a Triangle Era Tim Guitars Big Mud, a Synth Mangler by Ooh La La, a Skate Fuzz by Dr. Acid, and an MXR Blue Box. So I'll run you through and show you the different sounds that we've got in them. First up is the clean tone of my Fender Strat. Some neck pickup. And of course, we're running everything through our 2 notes La Clean. So the first fuzz pedal in the chain is the Fuzz. I'll punch that on. And at the moment, I've got it set to the germanium sound, which sounds like this. So you can hear it's got that nice, warm sound to it. It's a little bit not as bold as some other pedals, and I would call the kind of characteristics that the germanium diodes add a bit of a vintage sound. Not every frequency is really boosted. It's got a little bit more shape to it, and therefore sounds a bit of like an older sounding fuzz pedal. And when I hit it hard, the pedal responds to those dynamics. You can hear those sort of more MIDI honky tones coming out of the Fuzz. Next up is another favorite of mine, the Tim Guitars Big Mud. This is a Triangle Era clone, or a clone of the Triangle Era Electro Harmonix Big Muff. So it's a very late 60s, very early 70s kind of sound. It is the first production model of the big muffs that you would have known from the Electro Harmonix or the other videos that we have done. So I'll turn that guy on. Now this particular fuzz has got less distortion than other big muffs, but it has therefore a very rich sound, and because it has the least amount of clipping, it has the least amount of compression and can sound really dynamic and nice. This is what it sounds like. Tone. So you can hear it's got a nice, bold, fat kind of sound, but not too crazy in either respect. So, set off. The next up is a bit of a weird one. The Ooh La La Synth Mangler is a modern kind of take on an older silicon sort of sound like the Fuzz. The Synth Mangler specializes in glitchy chaos and noise sounds. Another cool pedal like this is the Zvex Fuzz Factory, which we'll do a specific video on because it's also one of my favorites. But I'll show you this guy to start with. So it has a fairly normal fuzz sound. And it has 2 switches that can make it go glitchy and chaotic. This is the first switch. And then it has the other switch. All of this is also controllable by the joystick, which sets the gain. So you can get some pretty weird self-oscillating sounds out of that particular pedal. The next one is the Dr. Acid Skate Fuzz. This is also modeled on a Big Muff. Its particular vintage is an early 90s green Russian Big Muff. It's characterized by having more gain, a lot more bottom end, and popular in the doom and sludge scenes because of how much sustain it has in its bottom end. This is what it sounds like. It has a very popular feature that I like in that it has a 3-way mids control switch, similar to some of the reviews you would have seen me do for the Tim Guitars Seaweed or some of the other mid-range effects like the SD1 or Tube Screamer. So I'll show you what that difference makes to the clipping. We start like this. And like this. Which makes for a really present fuzz sound, but it is probably most popularly used because of its mid scoop. And getting that tone control down for those really fat kind of chords. Great option for bass guitarists or anybody maybe playing down tune that really want to accent that bottom end response. Next up, the last pedal on the proverbial list for today is an MXR Blue Box. I bought this fuzz pedal because I read somewhere that one of my favorite Led Zeppelin tunes features this particular pedal in the guitar solo, which is Fool in the Rain. If you haven't heard it, you should check it out. It's a great tune. It is an octave pedal, and you blend the lower octave into the fuzz sound. It does a little bit of other manipulation that make it kind of sound like a bit crusher, like the quality is being reduced as you turn that blend control up, so it makes for some pretty interesting sounds. This is what it sounds like. So you can hear it gets some of that big octave, glitchy, or not uncontrollable necessarily, but it has a real organic quality to it in that it's going to change a little bit and add some tonal differences to your playing that you might not be able to achieve otherwise. So another great option, they do octave up fuzz pedals as well, which you can imitate with a pitch shifter and a normal fuzz. If you check out our Jack White videos and our Arctic Monkey video, you'll be able to see a little bit better example of what the octave up fuzz sounds like. But that's the Blue Box. Great octave down, a little bit of glitchy kind of sound, but a real smooth Velcro-like response. We've got the sludgy, doomy, big muff sound from the Dr. Acid Skate Fuzz. The glitchy, chaotic noise kind of sound from the Ooh La La Synth Mangler. What I consider to be a famous big muff sound, very smooth, very classic 70s kind of rock and prog sounding big muff sounds from the Tim Guitars Big Mud, and a very 60s bright, bold, almost buzzy like tone from the Frommel Fuzz. So there you have it. That's 5 of my favorite fuzz pedals. I'm going to put some links into the video and the blog for these about similar pedals or where you can get these pedals from, so you can check them out yourselves. If there's something here you want to see more of, leave a comment on our video or in our social media and tell us what you want to see more of, and we'll sit down and we'll work a review into the shooting schedule. So again, check out our social media, stay up to date with what's going on, check out our blog on the High Point Music website, And of course, get in touch with us if you've got any questions, comments, or suggestions. Thanks for watching. See you soon.